Last week, in an interview with Collider, Alan Tudyk stated that he will not be appearing in the first season of Andor on Disney+. He went on to say that showrunner Tony Gilroy has a plan for K-2SO, but we won't see that play out right away. I am surprised by this news because the relationship between K2 and Cassian was one of the best parts of Rogue One in my opinion, but I wanted to talk about what this statement means for the show and what else we know about Andor. While I'm surprised by this news, I respect it. It's kinda like Grogu leaving The Mandalorian, at least for now. Everyone knows and loves Grogu. My family members who don't care at all about Star Wars know and love Grogu. So to remove him from the series even temporarily is a gutsy and story-driven move. K-2SO doesn't have that level of fandom, but he was still very well liked, and I would have thought he'd be central to the marketing of this show. I also like the idea that we're going to build to this relationship, and that we'll get to see it develop. I assumed they would already be friends in episode 1, but I really love seeing friends become friends, like Finn and Poe in The Force Awakens, so I'm looking forward to watching a hostile Imperial security droid learn about friendship. There's definitely a question of how they're going to introduce K2, because they've already shown us a version of that story in a one-shot comic. I, for one, wouldn't mind if they simply ignored the comic and did their own thing. If Tony Gilroy has a specific story he wants to tell, I think that should be more important than making sure they stick to a comic only a handful of Star Wars fans read in the first place. Personally, I didn't like the comic much anyway, so I would happily see a new version play out. But I could absolutely see them doing something like they did with Cobb Vanth in The Mandalorian. They could still acknowledge the comic and the broad strokes of that story without having to let it play out exactly the same way. Cobb Vanth's story was slightly different from what was established in the Aftermath trilogy, but it was similar enough to make book readers happy. At least that was my experience. So maybe Cassian will still meet K2 on the planet Wakeko with 2 other Rebel agents. Just including some small details and visual nods to the comic would be cool. What I really like about this news is that it basically confirms that Andor will be more than one season. I was kind of thinking that would be the case since they never said it would be a limited series like Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka, but it's really nice to hear that this story will continue on for more than 1 year. That makes sense. If it starts 5 years before Rogue One, we've got plenty of time to play with and explore, plenty of missions to follow Cassian on, to see everything he did in the name of the rebellion. It's also interesting to note that the first season is said to have 12 episodes. That's 4 more than The Mandalorian has. I wonder if every season is going to have 12 episodes or if it'll be more fluid. But that's getting ahead of things. Right now we'll have to wait and see how well the first season does next year, but with the success of The Mandalorian and the Clone Wars Season 7, I have to imagine Andor will also be renewed. Disney Plus seems to have a lot of confidence in all of their live-action series, both Star Wars and Marvel and other fandoms, and that's for good reason. So what do you all think of K2 not being in the first season of Andor? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.